So here we are with another season of anime to get to, and this season is pretty interesting for a number of reasons. This season has a lot of drama and shoujo as series, which is fine. It's all fine. Just know that's not my type of thing. But there are also a lot of returning series that are continuing from last season are just coming back for a new season, which leads to an odd number of very low new series. So yeah, this isn't going to be a very long one now, is it? But I did manage to find a few good series that I think you might enjoy, on top of the series that are returning. So let's get into the season for summer of 2018. So first off, we have two isekai series for this season. Well, one of two of them. And well, they're both kind of infamous in their own respective ways. One for being okay, and one for being pretty much trash. Can you guess which one this one is? No, it's not the one that's trash. I didn't even bother watching episode 1 of that after seeing a few clips of it. Ugh. Anyway, this is How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. I've been following the manga of it for some time now, and so because of that, it's one of the series that I had to watch when it got its anime adaptation. So, for our plot, our main character is an average, otaku dweeb who's very super into his favorite MMO game, Cross Revere. I did not pronounce that right, I don't think I did. However, one day he finds himself, as his player character Diablo, summoned into a world very similar to the game world, but different in the very subtle ways. And because the two summoners had summoned him, try to perform the sealing kiss on him, because of his own magical ability to rebound magic attacks, it rebounds on both of them, turning them into his slaves. So you gotta guess what's going on from here. Interestingly enough, because of how he is the dweeb, he's very socially inadequate, and so the only way he knows how to deal with the situation that's around him is to basically role play his character from the game as reality, which I'm gonna be honest, I find that kind of brilliant in a way for a dweeb-like character, for someone whose base, self is a bit of a dweeb. How they would eventually cope with their situation is by delving deep into fantasy. And oh boy, he has delved deep into his RP fantasy. So we don't really have much of a plot from here on out. It's pretty much just our main characters trying their hardest to survive in this world, as well as the PC freaking out about the various things he finds himself encountering while being an overpowered badass in other times. Again, there is kind of this one goal of defeating the Demon Lord that's kind of sealed within the Cat Girl. Oh, the Spirit Demon King is still inside the Cat Girl. However, Diablo also refers to himself as the Demon Lord, which gets kind of confusing because they're two entities that refer to themselves by respectively the same title. This is mostly a series that's just fun to watch, not really too great. The fight scenes are really just Diablo standing around casting magic spells as he's a mage, and not even the Overlord style mage where he can be a total overpowered badass mage that can switch to a fighter at any moment. He's just standard mage. But again, it is pretty interesting. The characters are pretty fun to watch, and, despite the boring action scenes, it's a pretty decent watch, all things considered. Can it go wrong? And besides, they'll teach you how to properly summon a Demon Lord, hopefully, maybe. Next up, we have another series that I'm very familiar with the original manga source material, and I've been following it for years now, with High Score Girl. That's High Score Girl, not High School Girl. I know it sounds very similar. Anyway, for the plot, in 1991, Yaguchi Haru, again, forgive me for pronunciations, is in love with video games, in particular arcade games. He goes there every day in every possible moment he can. At the same time, one day when he makes a trip to the arcade, he runs across Ono Akira, and her name is easier to pronounce, who's a classmate of his, and is practically perfect, with perfect grades, perfect physical abilities, and perfect physique. And she also completely destroys him in Street Fighter 2, his favorite fighting game. After losing to her 3 times in a row, Haru makes it his great quest to beat Akira. However, in his struggles to defeat her, the pair end up growing close to each other, understanding one another in a bond that grows because of video games, changing depending on what new game is out and, the controls and all that kind of stuff. And from there, that strange little bond, a romance forms between the two, and that's pretty much the story. I really do love this series. It's a pretty funny series, as well as a pretty interesting for a historical look at the early 90s arcade scene in Japan, if you're kind of into that kind of stuff. One thing I find odd about the entire series, however, is the fact that Akira, the main heroine, doesn't talk, at all throughout the course of the entire series. She just makes expressions and let other people say what she means for her. We never see her utter a single word throughout the course of the entire series. And I honestly believe it's leading up to one giant brick joke that I'm just going to hopefully like when it happens. Either way, High Score Girl is a definite must-see. If only Netflix agreed on that statement. Now here's a series that's interesting but odd. And I kind of love it for that. So the plot, Soya Kurai, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that because obviously, is a kid with amnesia who lives with an odd maid and a giant mascot-like cat creature. However, when an odd ship appears and 7 heroes show up to combat it, he ends up fighting against these very heroes instead of fighting with them. He ends up piloting his cat sensei, who is in turn a giant psychic robot. It makes sense in the universe, against these heroes, as these battles have some clues to his mysterious past, involving alien invaders and the fate of humanity. Honestly, despite the cliche premise, it's very interesting, especially the battle scenes. All the heroes have mecha that are based on the Chinese zodiac, which is something I find interesting because the main character's mecha is based off the cat, an animal excluded specifically from the Chinese zodiac, especially if you read the original legend. So right now there are only 2 episodes of this, but I wrote this when I watched the first episode, but the first episode was so good and intriguing for setting up the entire story that it pretty much sold me on the entire series so far. Also, there's a recurring joke of this guy's attempt to eat meat, and I'm very much into this guy's attempts to eat some meat. Because every time he tries to eat meat, it turns out someone either stops him or it turns out not to be actual meat, which I find kind of funny. Also, something I realized watching the series, while looking up for this video, the character design was done by Satoshi Mizukami. And again, forget pronunciations. If that name sounds familiar or doesn't sound familiar, he's the guy who did the manga Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer, which is a great anime series, which is a great manga series, and if you're a fan of manga, you should definitely look it up. Especially because that might mean we could possibly get an anime out of this manga, which would be freaking amazing. They even make reference to it in the first episode with the anime figure, which I find pretty funny, especially what Cat Sensei tries to do with it. Either way, this is a pretty interesting series, and I hope you all take a look at it. So, I know that's only like 3 new series, but we have a lot of continuing series, such as My Hero Academy Season 3. It continues to run strong, and with the upcoming arc, and while the upcoming arc isn't as grand as the one that just passed, it's still a great run for our various characters and get to show them off a bit more. Steins Gate Zero is more Steins Gate, there's nothing wrong with that. Gekigen no Kitaro is still running strong with great episodic episodes and social commentary. So yeah, still loving yokai stuff. Persona 5 the animation. Of course it's not as good as the game, but it's okay, and honestly I just want to see more of these characters and these voice actors. It's all I really care about with Persona 5 the animation. Lupin the Third Part 5. Why didn't no one tell me that there was a new Lupin series out? Seriously, why is no one talking about these? It's Overlord Season 3. I've finally given in the peer pressure, started watching Overlord. This series is pretty good. So Overlord. And Attack on Titan Season 3. Which, honestly, I just want to scream to the sky and yell, finally, this thing is out. So yeah, that's like only 1 new series on the list. And, well, a lot of recurring stuff. And I think that kind of sums up this season in a nutshell. I mean, I did skip a few series that might be a little interesting, but I honestly didn't get into them. I mean, I skipped over Grand Blue, which I'm a fan of the manga, and the anime is just, nah, not for me. I typically don't like comedy anime that are based off manga that normally mess up some of the stuff with it. There's another anime out currently that kind of does that. We have Sirius Jaeger, which looks interesting, but I'm kind of waiting to see how the series will play out. Like, maybe 5 episodes before I give a solid opinion on that one. Chio's School Road is okay. The manga is a lot better, but either way, this season seems like it's a lot of okay anime and some reoccurring season stuff. And some of the best stuff is either the 3 titles I mentioned, or some shoujo stuff, which, honestly, let them have their fun. Shoujo and drama stuff. I can hear Banana Fish is good, it's just that I'm not a big fan of its premise, or yaoi subtext. Either way, there's a lot of anime this season. Some of it's pretty good, a lot of it's not for me, though. That's why this list only has 3 series on it, and the rest of it's recurring stuff. But of course, again, a lot of recurring stuff this season, which is honestly pretty interesting. So overall, that's all I have to say on anime for this season. What anime are you watching, and what do you recommend? I'm still looking for anime recommendations from last season too. Trying to build up another watch queue. I think I emptied mine out too quickly.